Hello and welcome to the Kidney Bean, Confessions of the Chronically Chill. That is Samantha, our Sue over there.
That's Tiffany, our Sue.
Also our Sue. So how are we doing today?
I'm all right.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm nervous, but
It's been a minute.
yeah, it's been a while and it's all
Tell me how
cold
you're
and rainy
doing.
out. So, huh?
Because I'm about to get into my feelings.
I've been listening to Lizzo when I started working on it.
Lizzo. Lizzo's my favorite.
Yeah. Well,
So let's get right into it.
yeah,
I
we
know
gotta
you
get
have
into it.
some things. I have one thing we're going to talk about, and then we'll get right into our guest. We have an amazing guest today. But
yeah, I'm excited about our guests plural.
guests.
Yeah, so we need to. I'm big on shout outs. We all know that. We need to get
A couple of them. We got two.
Yeah, well, we need to give a big, huge shout out to the man of the hour, Dennis Puskas. I hope I said that right. He is Puskas. He is David's dad, and he passed away last
And
week.
David is our producer.
Yes, David is our producer.
All of
David
this is because of David.
Southpaw Media Productions. And we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Dennis. So thank
Yes.
you for everything. And
He was
rest
so
in peace,
delightful.
Dennis. I know.
Had a Tesla hat in every color and wore a different one every single time we
Yeah,
saw
with
him.
his white Tesla he had to show us in the garage.
Yeah.
He was so cool though.
He was
And
very cool.
I really hate
Much
that,
love.
we didn't give him a shout out before because it's one of those give
Yeah.
flowers while they're here kind of thing. But he was really cool. Very sharp, very dapper, all that stuff.
Yeah, stay dapper in heaven, Dennis.
And then another person who we lost who is was a dear friend of the show. Our first guest on the pod, Yvonne McCormick. She was just, I get chills saying her name still. She was just big.
It's just
in
hard
the-
to believe.
I know, in the dialysis kidney community, young, beautiful, just full of life. She was a home hemodialysis patient currently. She had done the other modalities as well. Went through a lot.
Yeah.
And I want to real quick say thank you so much to her friends and her boyfriend and her father, who were very welcoming to me. They, her boyfriend and her father came down from Pennsylvania, and Lori and her daughter Jordan. That's one of Yvonne's best friends. Yvonne
Yeah.
had a lot of best friends.
No, yeah, you could see it on social media. I mean, just so
Right.
much love for her.
Right. So many people are saying the same thing that I said, where, she was the first person I met through when I went back on dialysis.
You
And-
could argue that we wouldn't even be doing this without you talking to her, because most of you guys don't know, but you were not about talking about any of this. Like, I couldn't even ask you about it. I felt nervous asking you about it. So
Right.
I think she had a big,
Right, because she did show me, and I said this even before she passed, like, she showed me you can still be yourself and then still have this and not have it. It's not, it doesn't define you. She still had all her personality and her hobbies and everything. You could still be cute, and you could
Yeah.
still, she had this social media presence. But yeah, I want to name, it's Ian, her boyfriend, Bruce, her dad, Mandy, one of her good friends, Lori, and Lori's daughter,
and
Jordan.
you guys met in South Carolina for the memorial.
Jeremiah, yeah, we did. And then I think there was Jenny or Jennifer, I'm not sure what she goes by. There's a couple other people that were very nice to me that I didn't remember their names or get their names. But yes, I went to, it was Hendersonville, but it's right on the South Carolina line. That's where she used to live before she moved to Pennsylvania. I guess that's where she's from. And she had wishes to be sent off at the Pretty Place Chapel, which was amazing. You guys need to check that place out if you have anything you want to do, like they do weddings and whatever, but it is really amazing. On the side of a mountain, we got to send her off with her song that she wanted, and they did everything that she wanted.
What was the song?
Oh gosh, I can't remember the artist, but it was something like Pretty Face. It said something about a pretty face in there, and I did ask her boyfriend, but I'm gonna have to ask him again. Anyways, he had all kinds of her music that he was playing that she liked. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful send off, and just we were gonna have her on again. We had plans.
Yes, we had plans,
and I had talked about her not getting that kidney. So
Yeah.
there'll probably be more episodes dedicated to Yvonne, but
Well, I think a shout out to everybody that donated to her GoFundMe.
that as well, because
I checked last night, and it's up to almost $7,500 that's going to be going to her father.
Yeah, so he actually, I think, used part of the money to do her send off, her memorial, and it will him and her boyfriend Ian. And
So it was beautiful.
It was just amazing. I'm pretty sure it was everything she wanted. And,
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot more I could go into with like the whole story of it because, I mean, the way the fog lifted when they were waiting, because they had it for a certain time, they had the space, and they're waiting for the fog to go so we could send her off. And that view was just amazing. Everybody got videos and pictures. But the way that the fog moved out after her dad was like, you know, come on, give me a sign. I want to send you off. And then he stood up there and said, you know, that was the sign I needed that she's okay. She's saying, I'm okay, Dad. And I just was, everybody was just in tears. It was just,
no.
It was amazing.
I could see you tearing up. You're going to make me cry.
It was amazing. But we can.
What a beautiful soul.
Yeah, she was. And is, you know, she's still helping people through just, you know, everything she did and, you know, everything that's happening after, you know, I met so many beautiful, wonderful, nice people, and thank you guys so much again, everyone that I named and everyone else up there for, they welcomed me, you know,
Yeah.
they didn't look at me like, who is this person?
Yeah.
We don't even know you, because I kind of felt like I was representing the dialysis and kidney community as well.
And she
Because-
was very well known. Everybody knew who she was. And I say our because I'm,
Yeah, no,
you know,
you are too,
like
yeah.
by association, but
Yeah.
the kidney dialysis community.
Yeah, her social media presence was so just needed and so accepted, and she, you know, it was very, very modern of her to help people in that way, you know. And she had a far reach. She had a really far reach. But we must move on. So rest in peace, Yvonne.
Oh, Yvonne. She was so sweet.
Yeah.
So I have one thing I want to bring up because last time we talked about Anya's baby maker STEM project, right?
Yeah.
And I thought she was just making it up because she thought it would be hilarious, because Anya does things sometimes because she thinks they're funny and she thinks that people will laugh at it. So I was driving her home and I had told her, I said, we talked about it on the podcast. I hope, you know, usually I ask beforehand, and I think I might have, but I said, we talked about it. And I said, you know, that's not how it works, right? And she's like, no, I know that's not how it works, Mom. And we didn't get into how it works, but, you know, I equivocate that to the ants. We talked about that before, like, because she loves ants and she knows they mate. And I'm like, yeah, humans have to kind of do the same thing. But what struck me and almost made me cry was I was like, did you just make that up to get some laughs? And like, she's like, no. She says, there are a lot of people out there that want to have babies that can't have babies.
Oh.
So I thought, if there's a machine that could make babies, that would be awesome, especially for like Aunt Sammy, because you know she's like Aunt Sammy. And I said, oh, do you think Aunt Sammy would be a good mom? She says, yeah, she's a really cool aunt. I think she'd be a really, really good mom, because you know how she talks. She's like, no, I know people want to have babies and sometimes they can't, and that's sad.
That's so
and that's
sweet.
But like, she really did the assignment, which is, I think, you know, always like think of a need. And then try and build a product around that. So it was actually really intentional and beautiful. So
I got to show you when we're done. There's Slim sent me an Instagram thing last night, and I was like, wow, it's crazy. There's like these. It was a video of these pods, and somebody invented these baby pods to create the perfect environment, like a womb. But it showed all these pods with just babies in it. It was like artificial intelligence, like made.
Right.
But it was so crazy looking, but it was
thinking
like
about
such
it
a
makes
good
me think of the
idea.
Matrix, like remember the Matrix
exactly.
pods?
And it was such a good idea because it was like, you know, sort of in vitro.
Well, Anya's
but
wasn't that advanced. Anya's, you just put candy in there and then it made a baby.
but she's 10.
So you put the candy in and then you get a baby.
Yeah.
So
Maybe the candy was the funny part because she couldn't think of like what she would actually put in there.
but
the
no,
sperm
I love the idea. I love the idea that you just put candy into a machine and then you get a baby.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I'll have to show her that, too.
that's just what, a recall to the last episode.
Yeah, that's sweet though. She's so empathetic.
So let's get into it. Let's get into it because we
Yes.
have a wonderful guest. I'll let you
We
go
have
ahead.
two wonderful guests.
We do. Well, I meant we have a wonderful guest.
Yes, so the 1 in 9 tribe is what their, I guess, brand you would call. But we have Annalyn and Raymond Scott, and I have been speaking with Annalyn a little bit, and you know, kind of leading up to this. But I saved
And we watched a documentary.
yeah, that she made and
That
produced.
every single person either going through dialysis or has a family member going through dialysis, it's just the nuts and bolts of what you really need to know.
Yes, and also, you know, if you don't know anybody, this is a good thing to watch to get educated.
Well, because she talks about so much stuff, and I want to bring her on before I start talking about any of that, because
Exactly.
About advocating for yourself and how doctors don't really know, or not that they don't really know, but that they're not sharing the information when you're in the first couple stages of kidney failure, because usually you can recover from that. But I think it's important to know where you are, what your
I take the preemptive measures.
Yes,
and
she had a doctor on that talked about it. She had a few doctors on.
I know.
Super impressive. I can't believe she produced it because it looks really good.
Yeah, it's awesome. And we talked about that whole thing, that exact thing, a couple different times with Yvonne and everything else, because Yvonne's situation was similar to mine.
Well, and she's right, because I think most people, if you look back at, like, I know particularly with you had blood and protein in your urine, and not one person told you.
Right.
And what if they had told you then?
But okay, let me just backtrack, because they could have told me that. They could have said, you have elevated blood and protein in your urine.
But they didn't. But you don't know what that means.
To an 18 or 19-year-old
Yeah,
kid.
because you're like, whatever.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, I think it's important to say it in the context.
Yeah,
give
hey,
you
your
everything
kidneys are going to
that you
fail, and
need.
that you will be on dialysis.
Yeah, because if and too, it's like, how do they say it? Like everything like that. It's just it's good for people to know, because everything's super connected. And if you're gonna, the high blood pressure thing, the diabetes thing, I have a diabetic stepdaughter, so like these are the things, like you assume when you have a what's the diabetes doctor called? I forget. Because I'm thinking about, like, my brain's on endocrinologist.
Oh, yeah.
So the endocrinologist I assume that the endocrinologist is looking after all that.
Yeah.
But that's not an assumption I should make.
Right.
Because they're worried about insulin and blood sugar and all that. They're not, maybe, and I'm making assumptions, I don't know, but maybe not.
Yeah, they might not be, and so that's where you come in to advocate and say, have you checked, have we checked her kidneys? Did she do a urinalysis? Like, what's her blood and protein? What's her creatinine? What's, the BUN? All these things.
Yeah,
that
I need to be more involved with that.
We don't know. We don't get told.
It's hard because I'm stepmom.
Yeah,
so I'm never at any of the appointments.
True.
But Sean is going to watch this. I'm going to make him. And he can be asking those questions and be her advocate. So, but without further ado, if you have anything else,
let's get
I will say that it's Annalyn Scott.
Yes, I made sure.
Lots of all the same letters as Anya Scott.
I thought of that too.
So I was like, that's why I was getting I was like,
when Anya texted me last night, I thought
you thought it was
Annalyn, because I had been texting.
Because you have it as Anya Scott.
No, I just have Anya, and I have Annalyn Scott.
Oh, because I have mine as Anya Scott in my phone.
Yeah, and see, I guess I didn't need to put Scott after Annalyn because
you don't know any other Annalyns?
Yeah, and I told her it's so cute, but I wanted to make sure that it wasn't Annalyn.
Okay, well, let's get them on here. Let's do it.
Yeah,
let's welcome Annalyn Scott and Raymond Scott to the Kidney Bean.
Welcome.
So welcome to the show. How are y'all doing?
Hey guys.
We're doing fantastic.
Great. How are you guys?
We are well. Now, where are you guys located?
Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay, so Arizona. Oh yeah.
How close is that to Sierra? Is it Sierra?
I can't remember. We have a sister station, or our sister's husband is stationed out there.
They just moved there.
Sierra Vista. Yeah, Raymond was in the Army. In fact, he was stationed in Sierra Vista.
Oh.
And
thank you for your service, Raymond.
Oh, that brings me to a point that I did forget. Sorry to interrupt you guys. So this episode is sponsored by the Russells, our sister and brother-in-law.
Who is in the service, who lives in Arizona.
So Emily, Elzar, Alexander, and Halo and Duke. Their dogs.
Two big, huge dogs.
Yeah, so they sponsored this episode. So thanks, guys.
They made this possible.
Oh, that's so funny.
What a play on words.
I know. I love puns too. So that's so funny that she said. What's on your shirt, guys? Before we get started,
I have a feeling I know what it is.
Oh.
Yeah, so wearing
nice.
Punk Diabetic. This is a Fife dog from a tribe called Quest.
Nice.
Known as Diabetic, and he unfortunately passed away from complications of diabetes, but he was on dialysis. He had kidney disease as well. So this is a tribute to Fife.
It's a beautiful piece of art, and I know that
Chris Rhimes, right? Chris Rhimes put that together.
Yes.
Well, we watched the documentary that you sent us, and I feel like every single person should watch that on the face of the planet. But especially, like, we have some people that are have reached out. They're like super new to being on
Yeah.
dialysis, and they say that they like to listen to Samantha because she's been on dialysis for so long. So if you're super new, I definitely recommend. I love that you have facts in there,
Right.
But I have adult ADD, so sometimes when people are presenting facts to me, I'm like, kind of like I get in and out, but it's so well put together. So we want to get that definitely somewhere.
Yeah, if we could share that.
We will share that. We will figure out a way to share it on our social media.
Yeah.
Oh, and of course, like and follow us. We didn't even say that, but
Yeah, well, that's always a given.
that's always a given. But I am so fascinated by this documentary I watched, and I
Right,
just
me too.
appreciate all of the hard work that you guys have put into it, because it's really well done. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I did not know some of those things, and Samantha had, you were 29 and Samantha was 22, so kind of in the 20s. But I did want to ask, what year were you guys' ages 23 and 29?
Now you're gonna end up telling their ages.
I know, because I like to think of a timeline. And the only reason I ask is because in my head, I'm thinking, how long ago did this begin?
Right. So this is basically,
And that's the only reason I ask. I usually would never ask anybody their age.
or like better way to put it. When did you get diagnosed with your kidney failure, Raymond? Because we didn't.
You were 29, no, I know that.
So it was 1998, which
Okay.
also explains why, yes, I am a 90s hip hop girl.
Me too, though. Me too.
Awesome. That's so awesome.
Yeah, so I'm not ashamed to say, yeah, I was 1998. I was 23. Raymond was 29, and that's when he, crashed into dialysis.
Right.
It wasn't until many years later that we found out there were actually signs of him having kidney disease in his medical records sooner than that, but
Yep.
he just didn't know it.
And we're finding that with everybody, though. Like, that's pretty, every single person I think we've had on here has kind of the same story, where the evidence was there if you looked for it, like you had said. And I love that you brought up so much about that, especially about being your own advocate. I have a stepdaughter who was diagnosed a year and a half ago as type 1 diabetic. And I was talking to Samantha about this, but I always make the assumption that her endocrinologist is looking after all of that. And I'm sure they are, but we need to be making sure that we're looking after it as well. Like, we need to be getting those numbers too, because that's something that we need to be knowing. And even, like, I remember one time I went to the doctor because I was having middle back pain, and I put on all my forms that I have a sister who has renal failure, and they just did a urinalysis on me and told me I was fine. But then I'm thinking, like, where am I on that? I need to know these things.
Yeah, like Annalyn was talking about the percentage. The,
it was. I have it written down, the
GFR.
GFR. I have it written down. I took lots of notes. It was so informative.
And that's the
it was
glomerular filtration
really
rate.
well done. Yes, you know those things, but I don't know.
But
them.
the average person doesn't. And so, like, as she's saying in the documentary, as they're saying, we need to ask these questions. And, I said this earlier, you guys didn't hear this, but it was like, I was 18, 19 when these things started happening. So the gynecologist, and this is at, the county health department that I'm going yearly for just my female physical visits. And they're recording that I have blood and protein in my urine. And they might be telling this 19-year-old kid these things, oh, you have blood and protein in your urine.
But if you don't know what it is in relation
No.
to, or what could
Right.
possibly be happening, then how are you supposed to know what to do
Even if
about
they had
it?
said this means your kidneys aren't filtering it out properly or what have you, bye, that's all they said was, okay, bye, And it's like, okay, where do you go from there? Which I, didn't know and don't know if I would have as a kid. So, it's very common, and I don't understand why doctors aren't telling people the severity of it, at stage 2, stage 3, before, to be proactive.
Right. You brought that up a lot about the when you call your physician and you wanted to know your GFR or GF, what am I just making up names here? GFR. You said you wanted to know it. And she's like, oh, well, it's, it's above 60. And you're like, well, it better be. And I was like, but they didn't, did they end up, what did it end up being? Did you find out?
So I had, previously been above 100 because that's the target, let's keep it 100. Up a little bit below that, I think it was like 95 or 96 or something like that. And so I was dealing with some other health challenges. And when I asked them, I wanted to know, was that number going down? Was that number going up?
Right.
So just to simply say, oh, it's good, or it's above 60, I'm like, that's not good enough for me. But what
Right.
it did is it brought to my attention to look at the range that they have on the blood work. And then it said greater than or equal to 60. And I'm thinking, I'd never noticed that before. And, the GFR can fluctuate here and there with certain things. But once you go below 60, and based on other factors, you could be at stage 3 kidney disease.
Right.
And so to me, that should not be the benchmark.
No.
And that's why I really, advise people, like you were saying, be your own biggest advocate. Know your numbers. Watch how it's fluctuating. Don't anticipate or expect that the doctor is going to keep track. They don't have time to.
Well, that's the problem is I think we make an assumption overall that oh, well, they'll tell me if something's wrong with me. But by the time that they tell you, you're already in trouble. Like, you need to know and start taking steps way before that. So, and keeping track of it, like when you were saying keeping track of it, just knowing yours and how it fluctuates and steps you can do to kind of.
Right. And Raymond, being in the military, you would think like, oh, I was checked out. I was, good to go. I got my physicals and everything passed. Everything was fine. So that kind of brings you to, which I'm sure you guys have thought, in certain places, like in the military, we should be checking more, because they have all of that, it gets paid for and everything. It's all, it's all routine and everybody has to go through it. How many people are going through and passing these physicals that are in stage 3 and 4 or, even worse and don't even know it. And then, end up how we did, just in the hospital with a catheter coming out of your neck. And what is all this, and 29 is very young as well. Like, I don't think there's ever an age that you're going to really feel fully comfortable and understand if something like that happens to you, because I know I'm still processing what happened to me and what I went through, and me processing is also, doing this is helping me process and talking about it and doing the, now Raymond, you see what I do with the next stage advocacy, because he does it as well. And I will see you on that meeting later too. But that's what ultimately landed me to eventually go ahead and call you guys and set this up, because I had been wanting to have you on pretty much ever since I started the podcast.
I can say that because when we first started, she definitely
talking about
was.
You guys.
Yeah,
but then we had a meeting last month for the Next Stage Advocates, and Raymond went on there to say what he was thankful for, and I had to pull over because I was crying because he's talking about Anna Lynn, about she's a bulldog for my care and all these things and just what she does, and it's crazy because I'm hearing you say, Anna Lynn, you had health challenges yourself, but here you are, just still out here doing it, like, advocating for us and for your husband and for your family. And it's amazing. It's just, it really pushes me to keep doing this as well, because, we took a little break. I was kind of, a little lackadaisical about having, recording episodes and stuff, but I'm thinking, the new year is coming, we can start getting on this again, because it's very important. When I watched your documentary, I was like, it's important to get it out there. It really is. And the way I do it is different than how you guys are doing it. You're actually, I told you, more professional, and you're doing a lot of research and very fact-based, and I'm more just kind of like, hey, I'm here chilling, and I just want to tell my story. But it's
I think at times that helps patients, because they feel comfortable in talking to you, and not feeling like they have to be someone else in order to open up about kidney disease, especially when they don't know the facts or they're kind of lost in it, and it's very emotional at first to find out such a thing. I know all I thought about was, that first day was, how long do I have to live?
Yeah.
It's fear to her. We just started dating, so I think your attitude makes them feel more welcome and comfortable and open up, because they're just talking to a person and not a clinical person with all
They're
these
talking to someone
degrees.
that's been through the process.
Yeah, because all
Right,
these
right,
words, we don't know what these words
It's
are.
so much at one time. Now, I was really touched by Jerome's experience, your brother.
Oh, yeah.
And because that's where I relate, like it was hard hearing the news and not knowing anything at all. But I was so happy just watching him talk about it and then being able to give you the kidney and talking about how it was a pretty relatively easy, considering that it's still surgery, recovery, and he's still if and I think saying that is what people need to hear so that they can know that getting tested and really, if you're able to donate, that that it's not like you can still have a very normal
Right,
life.
because it's like this gray area to people where I have so many people ask me, wait, you can live with one kidney? And so, it sounds like, oh, yeah, duh, because people are donating, but people just don't know.
Right.
And so, they also get confused with like, you can donate a piece of your liver and that regenerates. So they're like, is it the same thing? Like, they just don't know.
Right.
And so, spreading the right information is important because we've all seen on social media people spreading misinformation all the time, which drives me crazy, but it happens.
And then you guys.
But to
I'm sorry.
mention Rome again, I'm sorry.
No.
To mention Rome again, even now, in the beginning, I was like, okay, I just hope he stays healthy. No matter what happens to me, I just hope he stays healthy. And every time that time comes around during the year where he has to get his blood work done, I want to know.
Right.
I want to know, okay, how are you doing? Because there's a bit of guilt that goes with that.
I'm sure.
In that I'm accepting this organ from this person that I love and care about. Okay, what's to happen to them?
Yeah.
Say their kidney function starts to fall.
I'm so glad you brought that up because it's
and the things that come with that.
Yeah, because let's be real, like that's what I fear all the time. There have been a handful of people who have tried to donate a kidney to me, a live donation, and they haven't gotten past the preliminary, just things like health issues, weight, things like that. And I honestly breathe a sigh of relief every time I find that out.
I didn't know that.
Because I don't want to live with that. That's why I'm patiently waiting for another deceased donor. It's almost like I would want to not know who that person was because I know how I feel and I know I would get up every day thinking, I hope they're okay.
Did you do that with me after you found out about me, or?
Well, yeah, everyone who did, like, it just,
I didn't know that, Samantha.
I don't want someone to put themselves in jeopardy for me, especially, like, I have a friend who said she wanted to get tested, and I said, no, you're a single mom, you have 2 kids, my friend Bree, and I said, no, I don't want you to do that. And she tells me all the time, you said you wouldn't let me be, her boys need her, and, like, what if something happened, and so I don't want to feel like I owe somebody or feel that guilt, or feel like I'm putting them in any sort of jeopardy. So I totally get that. I totally get that.
And it can be really difficult, that's not an easy thing. Like, can you give me a kidney?
Yeah.
And Raymond,
Right.
Raymond didn't want to ask anyone.
No.
And Brother Rome actually just, offered. And something, my sister has offered to check to see if she was a match. And, we were concerned kind of for the same reasons, that we don't want it to have an impact. But we just now Raymond is back on the kidney transplant list with the Portland VA, and we're getting him added here in Phoenix at Banner Good Sam, or what I say it used to be Banner Good Sam, it's Banner UA Medical Center.
Okay.
And that's where he had his first transplant. And ironically, he's been assigned to the same surgeon, and there's I don't know if you guys were aware, but the VA, if we wanted to do another living donor transplant, we would have to go to Portland to do so. But they just announced through the Choice Act that they'll now give us the opportunity to choose a community hospital to do a living donor. So we're not sure if it's going, he's going to get that call and it's going to be a deceased donor, or if there's going to be a living donor that comes up. But what we really trust and what we really truly believe God knows what kidney Raymond's going to get, where he's going to get it, when he's going to get it, how he's going to get it. And so if it's really put on someone's heart that says, oh my goodness, I feel compelled, like I want to get tested, we're not going to, we've kind of put it in God's hands because, I at one point was a match for Raymond and was willing to donate a kidney. And then he had some blood transfusions and developed antibodies against me. So we're like, okay,
That's
I
the
guess
boat
God
I'm
doesn't
in.
want me to give my kidney to him. All right, we get it. And we have heard from so many people that have had their family members, their loved ones, offer and say, I want to donate. And they go and get tested. And then they find out that they have some sort of underlying condition, or maybe even a kidney condition that they didn't know about, that they may not have found out about for, who knows how long, but they were able to find. And then we're also seeing that people, may be willing and they're healthy and really want to donate, may not be the match for that loved one, but could get into a paired living donor.
I was going to say that
situation as well. So there's a lot of options right now that can help people with
right. A lot of people don't know about the paired donation exchange either, and they don't get it, that you could donate a kidney that would go to somebody that they do match, and then in turn, usually they wait for that donor to heal so that they could take care of you after, and you in turn would get someone who donated to the paired exchange.
Right.
So it's two strangers, but you're essentially donating for me.
So everybody's getting one. So that's
Right.
it's a win-win-win for everybody.
Win-win. And, a lot of people don't realize that. And I get a lot of people that say, oh, you wouldn't want my kidneys. You wouldn't, and they make that joke. And it's like, okay, you tell me you're scared to donate without telling me you're scared to donate. But I didn't ask you to. So that's the thing.
I think people initially, when you tell them you need something, they automatically think of, well, why can't I do it? Like they feel pressure to.
And it's a big thing. Like I'm not, at first I think I was a little salty. I was like, nobody wants to donate me a kidney, and I was so young, but that was something I kept inside. I didn't say that.
I know one thing that frustrated you was the people saying, oh, I would donate you a kidney, and then not doing anything.
Yeah, they say, I want to do it. How do I do it? And it was, I'm a bartender, so it was, literally 100 people probably, and it's like, just don't say anything. I know I've said that before on here, like, just don't say anything. But somebody that I work with the other day was like, wait, you still need a kidney? And I was like, yeah, I had one. Like, they don't know the timeline or whatever. And I said, yeah, that's why I'm on dialysis. And then she's like, why don't you have it like on your car? Why don't you have a Facebook page? Why don't you have all these things? And I'm like, I just can't. I just can't do it. I don't know. I just can't make that ask, that jump.
Well, one thing that was interesting was you were talking about fate. Your grandmother's funeral.
Oh, that was amazing.
Yes.
That part in the
Could you
documentary.
talk a little bit about that? About who Robert Long is?
Yeah, and it was interesting. My grandmother passed away on our anniversary in January 30th, 2016. And my grandma was ready to go. She was my mom had been up there with her for the last 2 weeks of her life, and our anniversary fell on a Saturday. And my grandma really felt like she was going to die the Tuesday before. In fact, when she woke up, she was angry that she was still there. She was like, why am I still here? I have somewhere to be. She was angry that she was still alive. So we went up for her funeral, and my great aunt came up to me at the funeral, at the family lunch afterwards, and was like, Annalyn, you're doing something with kidneys, aren't you? I said, yes. She goes, come with me. So she walks me over to a table and she said, Annalyn, this is my son, Bob. Bob, this is your cousin, Annalyn, and walks away. Okay. Has to have something to do with kidneys. So I explained who I was, what we're doing, and all of that. And he goes, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Bob. I'm founder and CEO of Microvascular Health Solutions. We've come up with an all-natural, nutraceutical that's helping people with their kidney function, their diabetes, high blood pressure. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Because it's all connected.
So I'm like, just out of the blue, I had no idea. And I started sharing more about Raymond and what's going on. And he started getting excited. And he just, he said, well, my goodness, there's, we have this Class 1 medical device that, can measure someone's microvascular score. would love to test Raymond. And I promise you, ladies, we didn't do it at the funeral, as you know. We had gotten together the next day, and I'll just share this part. Won't tell. I won't give the whole spoiler or give the whole. But I just want to share something with your audience that are important. They've been doing a lot of studies with patients and of all sorts, and clinical studies around the world, and so here we're hearing all the science behind it, and they were able to go and do Raymond's testing, and we couldn't even get a score. Here he looked healthy, was looked healthy on the outside, but was something else was being said on the inside. And I just remember when as we were doing the testing, afterwards, my cousin got, kind of alarmed because he tested Raymond 3 times and said, I've never not been able to get a reading on anybody. And he said, here, and he's like, here's like 5 months supply of the supplement. He's like, take this. And without going into all the detail of the whole story, it ended up saving his life, like literally saving his life, and it saved his life twice. And I remember when my cousin left that day. Now Raymond can attest to this, right? We've been together now 25 years. How many times have you seen me?
Maybe 2 or 3 times.
You've maybe seen me cry just a few times, even with all the things we've
crazy.
I cry so much.
She cried earlier in the show.
You're not a crier. Oh, God. I wish I could say that.
Mom, Raymond's like, I don't know how I'm going to feel if you don't cry. And my mom looked at him and said, look, it's okay if she doesn't cry. She usually cries if she's really angry or she's really sad.
I got you.
And don't get me wrong, like there's some emotional things that can hit me, but I share that for a reason.
Yeah.
When my cousin left, I went into the room that we were staying in. I went into the bathroom, and I wept. I wept, for my grandmother, but I wept, and I had the most intense sense of gratitude that I'd ever felt before. And I had just this knowing. I knew that it was a final gift from heaven from my grandmother.
Yes, and that is such a overwhelming.
Blessed Raymond. Like I knew that there was something that it was a blessing for Raymond, and others, but I could never have predicted what it would do and how, like, literally life-saving that gift was.
Now,
I'll leave the rest of the story for your audience to tune into the documentary.
They definitely need to watch the documentary because you really get into it. But my question is when you take that, Raymond, how does all your doctors are obviously okay with you taking that? So there's, because I know, like, a lot of times, like supplements, even like you have issues of what you can take and what you can't take.
If they're not approved by the FDA and all that stuff. So,
right. Yeah. So they were all okay with you I mean, obviously they were all okay. There was no concerns about you taking anything in there. There's nothing in there that they had any issues with. Wow.
No, none whatsoever. And even one time when I was in the hospital, they actually had it on the list of medications when she brought in a new bottle.
I made sure it got on the list.
Yeah.
Good. I know you did.
The bulldog came in again.
The bulldog came in and it was done, taken care of.
And I came prepared with the science and with some of the information. I was like, no, he's going to take this.
Awesome.
I looked and they said, okay.
Yeah.
And I'll say is, because this is not in the film, Raymond was, he was kind of battling a little bit of a fever. Yeah, so, anytime Raymond gets a fever, our protocol is we go to the hospital, and this was just really strange. It was like he had a headache and, get a little fever and then kind of go away, and, he was feeling fine overall, and we started him actually on dialysis, and within just 5-10 minutes of him starting on dialysis, he said, I'm getting the chills, and then all of a sudden he was like shaking uncontrollably.
Oh my goodness.
And it was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And so we called 911 and I took him off treatment. And by the time the ambulance got there, his temperature was like 101. I think by the time he got in the ambulance it was like 103.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I just had the presence of mind to grab our book that we wrote, and that has, some pertinent information about this. And I grabbed the supplement bottle and I threw that in my purse and I jumped in the ambulance with Raymond.
Wow.
And so when we got there, sure enough, and I was telling him about, a case where Raymond had sepsis before, and the doctor, oh, okay. And it turned out he had sepsis. And so they were, looking at his numbers and seeing what was going on. And, we're going to have to move him up to the ICU. But we've got to see, because by this time, blood pressure was like going sky high. Now it was like dangerously low.
Oh,
and I'd seen before when he had sepsis, so I knew what this meant. And so, I actually called my cousin and I'm like, they've done studies with patients with sepsis. And I said, what do you suggest? What should we do? And he's like, take 4 of these right now, take them every 4 hours.
Wow.
And so I didn't even ask. He dry swallowed the 4 pills. and the doctor came in and, I said, well, what's going to need to happen? And he said, well, we need to see his median, blood pressure reading go up. And if not, we're going to have to do a main line. I said, oh, no. We're not going to have to do a main line. That's not going to need to take place.
Oh, wow.
And I said, we've already kind of started our own sepsis protocol, but no, that number will go up. And, actually he walked out of the room. I said a prayer over Raymond, and all of a sudden the blood pressure cuff started going off.
Oh my God, I got the chills.
And I looked at the screen and I was like, that number will go at or above whatever the number it was. He told me, and I was like, in the name of Jesus, bam, it hit that number.
Wow.
And everything was calm, everything was smooth. And so, I explained to him, we want him taking 4 of these pills every 4 hours. And when they moved him up to the ICU, they had me wait in the waiting room for a little bit while they got everything situated. I went upstairs. It was peaceful. It was calm. He had this beautiful new room that had Samantha. Like,
it was huge.
I know the feeling.
A chair that pulls out to a bed. I'm like, where have these beds been all of these years?
Yeah, I'd have to tell my boyfriend about that one.
Well, we know you have to go, Raymond. So we're not gonna. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. We're not gonna.
Raymond's gonna have to go in just a minute, but I'll share with you. It was so peaceful in that room, and Raymond was stabilized, and he was doing really well.
That's awesome.
And when the ICU nurse came in, I said, "Oh, by the way, this is part of his protocol." She goes, "Oh, I know. The ER doctor already put it in his chart."
Wow.
See, they listened to you because they didn't know.
And he was. And ladies, let me just share with you, this was on a Wednesday. The next day, they moved him out of the ICU because he was too healthy to be in the ICU.
Yay!
That's crazy.
Was it Friday or Saturday? He came home either that Friday or Saturday. I don't recall. But it was a quick turnaround, which anyone that has any familiarity with sepsis knows that it doesn't normally go that route.
No.
So that's a little piece your audience gets, because that was not shared in the film.
No, I know. And we're definitely going to encourage them to go watch the I mean, everybody needs to watch that. It was just so much information,
sorry,
so
do you
valuable.
still take that, Raymond? Do you still take it every day?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I still take it.
Okay.
Every day, 4 pills.
I'm going to have to get my hands on some of this.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be looking into it, and I know you have to go, so we're not going to keep you too much longer. But we do appreciate you guys coming on today. I hope for a good visit with the doctor, and
there will be a part 2.
we're going to have to invite you guys back on if that's all right, because we didn't even get to half of my notes. So in the future, hopefully we'll have a part 2 with you guys. But
this is just an introduction.
This has been amazing. So thank you so much. Just thank you for all you do, Anna Lynn, with the information and just presenting it in such an awesome way that even someone with ADD can follow. So thank you so much for that. And thank you guys for coming on today. And we will schedule a part 2 soon, I promise.
Thanks so much, you guys.
And thank you guys for what you do. You're impacting lives, you're making a difference, and that should be enough.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for what you do.
Yes, and we will definitely be in contact. Our paths have crossed, and so we are just alongside each other now.
Are we part of the tribe?
Yes, we're part of the
You're
tribe.
part of the tribe. Definitely.
That's the 1 in 9 tribe.
I know. I love
Look
that.
it up.
That
Google
song.
it.
That song you got on there. It's like catchy.
It's
I
catchy.
Like it. I like it.
Yes,
that's
very
catchy. It stays with you too.
Yep.
We're warriors, we're champions, and it takes a village.
Yep.
So we, and you don't have to have kidney disease to be part of our tribe.
Right.
You can be champion. You can be a warrior for a
Yeah.
family member, a loved one, friend, you know, but also a champion for change and to help
Yep.
bring awareness. You know, our organization, 1 in 9, it comes from the statistic this was back in 2015 when we started, that 26 million Americans, or 1 in 9 adults, have kidney disease, yet 90% don't know it.
Those numbers are just
90% walking around.
watch the
And
documentary.
numbers
It's going to
are-
give you so much information. It's just you're going to be asking for your numbers when you go to the doctor. Trust me. We all need to be doing it. Every single person needs to be doing it. It needs to be changed, honestly. Like, it sounds like it
Yeah.
needs to be something that we need to be like changing at
Right.
a very systemic
And I
level.
feel like there's a lot of things that Annalyn has really like made awareness to and need to change, and she's doing that by, you know, spreading the knowledge. And I mean, yeah, we didn't even talk about the documentary.
All right, we are going to let you go to the doctor, so you do not have to pay a late fee or anything like that. I don't know how your doctors are, but I know if we show up late, there's always some sort of charge. So thank you so much for thank you for what you do, and thank you for coming on our show today.
Thanks, you guys. Happy holidays.
Right.
Yes, happy
Thank
holidays.
you. Happy holidays. Take care.
Thank you.
You too. They're just so awesome.
Thank you so much, Annalyn Scott, and of
Raymond
course
Scott.
Raymond Scott. Thank you for your service as well, Raymond.
Oh yeah, and I hope he wasn't late to his appointment.
Oh, I hope we did not make it. He had an appointment, and
You said I hope he did not make it.
I hope we did not make him
Oh.
late. I combined two thoughts
gotcha.
there. I'm having an issue with my speaking today. Like, usually I'm on point, but today not so much.
I forget they're in Arizona. I'm like, we need to hang out with them.
You feel like everybody's just super close when
Yeah.
you're
You know,
I
there
guess
were just-
FaceTime
there were-
makes it so close.
Yeah, and I know there were a few things you didn't get to, and I didn't get to, mainly about the
Oh yeah, I
documentary.
have pages. We're gonna have a
But
second
they're,
one.
you know, I wanted to say they have a beautiful family. They've got 2
Yes.
children. Like,
But
they're just,
you know what?
They're doing it.
Honestly, everybody go check out the documentary. It's not even an hour. It's so well done.
Yeah, and you can follow them on Facebook.
Yeah,
and then
1 in 9 Tribe.
they also have a podcast. And
They also have a podcast.
forgive me because I've only listened to one episode, but I did tell her that, or actually I watched it.
Yeah.
And so I need to get back on. I was like, why didn't I subscribe or anything? Like, because I don't know, I didn't see the other episodes, and sometimes you forget about stuff if it's
Do you
not
know like
in your face.
how terrible I am with things? I just went on to our Kidney Bean Facebook page because
saw.
I couldn't figure out how to do it without it switching profiles.
You couldn't figure out how to react under your own name.
Right.
I did that in the
but
beginning.
this is the silliness that I feel. So please like and follow us on all of the socials. I know I'm saying I'm terrible at it. I promise I'm going to get better. I have children and nephews and the younger generation to
help
help
you.
me. But we're going to have, of course, a link for the documentary that
1 in 9.
1 in 9 Tribe did.
Documentary.
Documentary. I said it like that.
Accessory. Yeah, I said accessory.
Have you heard Nigella Lawson say microwave?
No, but what
She
is
said,
that?
she said, this is some milk I warmed up in the microwave.
Oh, yes, I did hear that. The
That's how I just said documentary.
Yeah, accessory.
I'm having words are issue for me today. But
Yeah.
yes, go watch it. Everybody should watch it, especially if you're new to dialysis and new to treatment, or you found out that a loved one is new to, because I've been interacting with people and I'm like, we have a podcast, check it out. There's, we're not the most informative people. Those are, that we let other
Yeah.
people handle that are a little
the
bit.
1 in 9 Tribe will give you the
The
facts.
1 in 9 Tribe will give you the facts, and they will give them to you in a very clear, concise, informative, and not boring way.
Yeah, and it's not that I don't know things, because I do know this stuff that I've been through, and I
Right.
feel like I am an expert on my own treatment and everything, like I've said before. I just don't want somebody to say, I did this because you said, or I tried this because you said, and then it didn't work.
We're more like, this is her story. Take from
Right.
it what you will.
But I do want to transition, and 1 in 9 is a good bridge for this,
Mm-hmm.
because I want to transition to having those medical professionals on to ask
Absolutely.
them these questions. And I will start with New Hope Dialysis. I just talked with Susan today. Susan was the clinic manager, but now she has changed positions, and I can't remember what she just told me today, exactly what it is that she's doing, but she's more, I'm going to see her more, basically. She's
Yeah.
more in the clinic, and
she
helping
she
with
wants
that.
to come on.
She didn't say, but she did say she is
are
doing,
you like coaxing her?
yeah,
Like-
she is doing. She has a YouTube channel that she started with, about all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. Pretty sure she's a nurse, so you know, she has a lot of information and things, and she's the reason I do home dialysis, because she's the one who called me when I was in the hospital and all that stuff. So,
And we didn't even get to talk about the fact that Raymond's been on home dialysis for 8 years.
I know there's so many things that, you know, but you guys
But
can
you
find
watch
out
the
if you-
documentary.
and go
Watch
listen to their
the
podcast
documentary.
or watch their podcast.
And then you will find out all this awesome information, and you will be so happy you did.
Oh,
And
I
you
know,
will
the things that
comment
they're
and
doing.
on our podcast and tell us thank you for sending you to theirs and that documentary.
Yeah, I mean they're awesome, the work that they're doing, and you know, especially Annalyn, like
my
like
gosh.
he says, you know, bulldog.
The Bulldog.
Yeah.
That's her official new name, the Bulldog. Thank you, Annalyn
It's
Bulldog
a
Scott.
rough name for such a like dainty lady.
She was like, no, I gave it, and he dry swallowed them.
It's like, you will take this.
You will take these.
No, but I really like how the doctors were listening to her.
Yeah, because I was like, I was surprised that there was no pushback.
Well, and also it's because they don't know. This is like so, you know, such new stuff, and obviously if they're not telling people about their, you know, kidney problems and kidney diseases, you know, a lot of people will argue and say because dialysis is a moneymaker and they want you to go on dialysis. Now that's a whole conspiracy thing.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that they're always going to make money with that, so they don't have to
Right.
worry about that. But I think most doctors want patients to get better. It's just not enough. There's not enough.
But it
things
just-
are so new.
Yeah, and
like
it
you
just
said.
kind of adds to the conversation of why are there so many of us on dialysis? You know, why can't we slow this down, stop this, and get a handle on it so people
and
don't
they
have to
have a doctor in the documentary where they talk about like knowing things sooner and being able to
being empowered and being
control it a little bit better and not being at this point where you're like, oh, boom, you're crashing into dialysis.
and be
like,
your own
and 'cause-
advocate, or
yeah.
be your husband's advocate, or your know your brother's advocate, your sister's advocate. It be, you know, especially if you have an older person who, you know, might not know what to say to the doctor or forgets when they go or
That's
whatever.
me.
It's always better to bring someone too.
Right.
And you know, if you know someone who's going through all this stuff and, you know, they are just overwhelmed, you know, you can help by asking the doctor these questions. And who cares if they get annoyed or if they're, you know, pushing back, like you said. And you had a great point of the pushback with the medication.
Yeah, because I was surprised because I know for you, like taking
Herbal,
anything, yeah, they're
herbal,
like poo poo on that, you know.
And then that one doctor, I believe Dr. Devon, what I wrote down, that young doctor that she had on that documentary, was talking about herbs and things because.
And she says that's where natural medicine can shine.
Yes, because preventative maintenance would be those things.
Yeah.
Like for me, too late for you
Yeah.
know, some of these things. But
Well, I think these are the steps we take to get less people on dialysis.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying is she's doing it. You know, she's spreading the word, or they're spreading the word, and it's amazing. And you know, I just thank them. I mean,
Everybody go watch it.
Yeah.
It's really
For real.
you'll be glad you did. I mean, I know like most people don't like watching documentaries, but documentaries. I just gonna say
love
like
documentaries.
I like documentaries, but
No,
but
I won't
now I'm
say it like
only
that.
saying it that way.
Oh, let's switch gears because we got to wrap up.
Yes, we are wrapping up. Watch it.
I get lots of compliments on my hair, and I do love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it.
I love it too.
Brandy Biggs Murray
Oh yeah.
is the best, and her and Jeremy Murray just tied the knot on Halloween.
Oh yes, congratulations to them.
She looked amazing as always, but her dress
Always.
was so cute. What did I
Her
say?
dress
It
was
a
amazing.
Cross between Dolly Parton and Michael Jackson.
Is that what she said?
I said that.
Oh, you
'cause it was
said that.
her little jacket. With
It
the
just
little,
was her. Like,
Yeah, it
she had a
was-
trouble finding. She went to like 7 different stores, and she had trouble finding a dress because she wanted a dress. You know, like when you
Yeah.
know. And she tried it on, and I remember she sent me pictures, and it was her. It was that dress was so made for her, and the jacket. She had to have the jacket
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
because
love
the
that.
jacket made it.
Yeah. They look so cute. Jeremy looks so. I was like, oh yeah, and you look nice.
He
too,
looked,
Jeremy.
yeah, he had a tailored suit and
He
looked
was sharp.
amazing.
He
They
was
looked
sharp.
amazing. Lots of
Yeah.
pictures. So congratulations to them, friends of the show.
Yeah, newlyweds. It sounds like it's going really well from what she was telling me when I was.
Oh, they've
getting
only
married.
been together like 20 years. I mean,
But married life added a new, it's like a new thing where
Yeah.
they've got, she said something about trying new recipes and stuff because she's like, now that I'm all domesticated and stuff. I was like, that's so cute.
yeah, I gave her knives for her birthday.
Oh, that's cool.
Some
I love
Henkels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
that's awesome, you guys.
All right, so
I think that's about
That's
it.
about it. I hope we
This
didn't
was
forget
fun.
anything. This was a
I
really
probably
great
did.
one.
Probably
So
forgot some stuff.
like and follow us as always. Thank you for watching, and
share your spare.
like Jerome did for his brother.
Yes, and happy holidays, everyone.
Yes,
we will
happy
see you
holidays.
next year.
Merry Christmas. We'll see you after the new year.
Yeah, I think, right? Or we might do one before then. But either way, happy holidays.
No, like the new year's next week.
What's today? The 15th.
Well, it's in 2 weeks.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.